In 1976, archaeologists discovered the ruins of a large structure built more than 3,000 years ago in Qishan County, Shanxi Province. They estimate that it was built in the 12th century BC. From the ruins, it's still possible to see what the original structure looked like. Reproducing its original design, experts estimate that this was an orderly, quadrangle-shaped building that was composed of 2 yards. Along its central axis, the screen wall, front door, front hall and back rooms are arranged in an orderly sequence. The adjacent side rooms are placed beside them, and the corridors connect the front hall and back rooms, forming a closed courtyard. The ruins, the earliest of its kind discovered so far, provide proof of the long history of courtyard homes in China. In ancient China, from dukes, high ministers, rich merchants, scholars to the average commoner, everyone had their own courtyard. And from grand mansions to small houses, different tales played out in these courtyards, whether they were splendid or ordinary. The courtyards formed the core of a building in northern China. Different courtyard homes had a different number of yards. The simplest courtyard home had only 1 yard that was surrounded by houses on 4 sides.
四合院它其实是以内部的这个庭院作为主要的活动空间，而它外围的四周呢都是用墙面来进行封闭的，也就是说外人很难进入到四合院的这个核心的内部来。一座标准的四合院也可以看作是中国古代封建社会的一个非常典型的缩影啊。虽然说这个它里面的这个元素相对比较简单，但是可以说是 五脏俱全啊，能够反映出这个社会的种种的特色。
Families are the basic units of a society. In ancient times, families were also the microcosm of social hierarchy and were deeply reflected in the courtyard homes. The layout of a courtyard house was closely related to each family member's status and their way of living. The principal room faces the south, and it's the largest room in the courtyard house. It also forms the core of the home, reserved for the head of the family. The wing rooms on the sides are for the sons, while unmarried daughters have rooms at the back. The servants live in rooms opposite to the principal room and near the front door. The front gate has a screen wall and is placed at the southeast corner of the yard.
《四合院》最可贵的地方就在于呢，它用相对比较低的技术手段，但是营造出一个相对比较舒适的一个人工环境。因为这个比较宽阔的庭院的存在，使得四合院的内部呢，它有一个相对比较恒温的小气候条件。那么这样在比较炎热的夏季和比较酷寒的冬季呢，温度呢能够 变化起伏相对比较少啊，这样的这个使得人的这个生活会。
In 1799, Emperor Qianlong passed away. It was now that Emperor Jiaqing started taking over state affairs. The emperor immediately issued an imperial edict and announced 20 charges against He Shun, forcing the corrupt minister to suicide and the expropriation of all of his property. The emperor then gave the mansion to one of his brothers. In the 1850s, the owner of this mansion became Yi Xin, namely Prince Gong, and it has been known as Prince Gong's mansion ever since.
咱们都知道有句俗话说，这个一个恭王府半部清朝史。大概在北京现存的所有王府建筑当中，恭王府是保存最为完整，而且呢是最有特色的一座。确实呢，这恭王府这座建筑呢，它囊括了清朝中期一直到晚期的很多沧桑的历史的变化。
After an extensive renovation, the mansion now has a garden within it and resembles the look held during its heyday. It covers an area of 31,000 square meters. The mansion is divided into middle, eastern and western sections and is composed of many courtyard houses and yards that were built along a straight axis. The main building is located in the center of the complex. Its roof is decorated with green glazed tiles, demonstrating its dominant position. The principal rooms in the front yard on the eastern axis are Prince Gong's reception halls. This is where he received government officials and envoys from foreign countries. Courtyards on the western axis are exquisite, with its main building standing out among the rest. The exquisite partitions in the hall are a replica of one of the palace halls in the Forbidden City. The construction of this replica was among the 20 charges against her.
二条大队当中有一条是和这个府邸是有关的啊，它的原话是说呢，里面有一座建筑，所有的这个装修和隔断都采用楠木，而且呢仿紫禁城零售宫的制度。不知道这么做是合这个心肠啊。其实也就是说，这个府邸里面有一部分建筑呢过分的豪华，甚至去模仿宫殿建筑。在古代封建社会呢，这是非常严重的僭越的行为。因为我们知道，在古代的这个礼制等级当中呢，每一座建筑和它主人的相应的社会地位必须是完全吻合的。如果出现超越你这个阶层所应该享有的这个建筑的情况的话呢，那很有可能受到非常严格的追究。
In the Qing dynasty, the scale and specifications of a courtyard house was determined by its owner's power and wealth. The specifications for a wealthy merchant's house was very different from those of a duke or minister. This is the Wang family compound in Shanxi province. Its construction began in 1664. The Wang family compound is the general term for the grand complexes within it. It includes 6 old castles, 5 alleys, ancestral temples, pawn shops and other courtyards, as well as some general stores along a shopping street. Covers an area of over 250,000 square meters. The most representative building within the Wang family compound is the East Wing, known as the Red Gate Complex, and the west wing, known as the Gaojia Cliff. Both are now open to the public. A pedestrian crossing connects the two sections. The site of the compound is carefully selected and houses well planned. There is also a combination of cave dwellings and conventional houses, as well as an appropriate number of halls and pavilions within the enclosed area.
晋生村呢，它是一个杂姓的移民村，就是说很多宗族它逐渐的聚拢来，发展壮大以后呢，他觉得这个还是有些杂乱，所以最终呢，它就形成了就像洪门堡，大家可以看到的这种非常布局非常严谨，而且规划非常好的这么一种形式。最后呢，是王家。就这个发展最好的这么一个宗族，而且是宗族里面呢，就是收入比较高的小型地主以上的这些人，他们捐款，直接就建成了这样的一个古院。
The west wing forms the core of the Wang family compound. This is its front yard. The living room faces the south. There is also a passage to the backyard. Backyard is a private living area. Seniors, members of the household, lived in the principal room and their children in the wing rooms. The principal building was for ancestral worship. Everyone was given their proper space. Each cave dwelling came with a heated brick bed in the center of the room. Beds were combined with kitchen stoves and the flues under the brick beds to form a heating system. These heated brick beds were crucial during the cold winter. The kitchen unit is to the south of the principal yard and is composed of 3 segments. It has 7 doors, 3 that are internal and 4 external. Different doors and dining rooms were used by people with different social status, showing the importance of social class.
进入了这个洪门堡，据守不出。最后呢，是解放军用了满满的一棺材的炸药，把那个堡门炸坏，最后才全歼了这个敌人。所以说，你想，就是说它的这个防御功能是多么的全。只有南边它是开了一个门，而且是非常厚的门。那其他的周边呢，其实就像咱们的城墙一样。所以在这里面呢，人的生活是很安逸的。
There are yards within yards and doors behind doors. Different parts of the courtyard are connected, giving people the impression of a labyrinth. In the mountainous regions of Fujian province, there are a lot of earthen buildings called tulou. These rammed earth buildings are the large dwellings used by the Hakka ethnic group and Fujian merchants. The Chungchi building is located in Yongding County. Its construction began in 1709 and took 3 years to complete. It was built by the Jiang family. This building is composed of 4 concentric ring-shaped structures. At the center of the building lies the ancestral hall with 21 rooms. The middle ring has 40 rooms. The outer ring has 4 stories, of which the bottom floor is the kitchen, the second floor the granary, and the third and fourth bedroom floors. There are more than 300 rooms in the entire complex. The southern front door and the ancestral hall lie on the central axis. There are now more than 60 people living in this building, all belonging to the Jiang family. The lifestyle in a building like this is apparently different from that in other regions. Here, a big family lives in close proximity. Everyone literally live under the same roof. In a place like this, there are no differences between rooms, whether it's the principal room or a wing room. There are also no differences between courtyards. People live on the same floor and in the same type of rooms, regardless of their status. All are treated equal. Within its walls, the people share the same ancestors, but they don't share their wealth. Even though each family independently manages their wealth, they share the communal facilities, such as the front door, reception areas, courtyards, and wells. All the rooms here face the same ancestral hall at the center of the building. The building's concentric layout makes all rooms central to the inner courtyard, where they face the ancestral hall to show reverence to their ancestors. Some scholars call this architectural layout the dot and feeling of safety among the residents. Traditional Chinese architecture can be roughly grouped into 2 forms. One is a rigid, bureaucratic architectural style under the control of autocratic power. The other is the freestyle with distinctive regional features. If one makes a comparison, the former is already history, following the collapse of the feudal system, while the latter is still very much alive. Mountains and water have played an important role in Chinese culture. People's knowledge of mountains and water form the basis of the concept of landscape gardens. Artificial landscape is simply the product arising from mountains and water, even though they are man-made.